Hi, my name is Douglas Lin, and this is my startup pitch, Uply Search, a search engine that doesn't suck. So the problem is that Google's current search results for non-factual questions such as discussions or reviews on certain items leads to a lot of ad spam, ad blockers, and cookie tracking. Also reflects a lack of privacy on Google's part and how they're pretty much driven by their corporate advertisers and the corporate advertising business model for most of the Reddit venues and most of their business model. Search should be based on content relevance and not search engine optimization. We believe that search engine optimization just ruins the user experience and the results they see. People are now appending Reddit to the end of the queries to get a more real and authentic, or at least a more human interaction with their discussion to get actual human interactions, or at least human input into products that might usually just be pushed by corporations. People trust Google reviews and results because Google is the current monopoly that has a monopoly on search results. So for Google to now search and Reddit and core results in response to open-ended questions kind of signals that Google's inability to at least meet this specific need is something that we can tackle. And because Google is also a centralized closed source algorithm, most people, especially even those at the search engine optimization agencies, are not exactly sure how the algorithm is ranking these pages and how they basically work at a deeper level, which is fine if you're thinking about, oh, agencies are not able to game the system if they had access to the source code. But for regular users that sometimes have their pages not popping up on the first three pages or sometimes not being pushed up, even though they're more relevant, it's something to consider for another solution other than just using Google. So there's definitely an advertising and user experience conflict between Google and their users. So yeah, so just taking a look at without ad blockers, searching for, I guess, a dev tool for software engineer, get a lot of ads, and then maybe you might get a blog or you might get like a reviewer that pops up versus usually if you added or read it after that Google query, you might get at least some discussion. And I think looking at the meme here, yeah, Google definitely has been appended with Reddit and a lot of times YouTube. Sometimes the YouTube search algorithm is better and at least gives you better results when you're looking for, I guess for me and other students that have had these uh, issues with their homework and getting a more direct answer, or maybe just finding a solution that Google probably wouldn't bring up on the first page. So the solution is to implement a form of Reddit's upvote system to this new search engine, Uply. And basically, the search engine would return results based or ranked by real users. So there will be a back end formula that should be open source for users to see how these calculations are being made and what's being pushed up. So primarily open ended and subjective topics. So this would not be. It's important to note that facts and other objective topics that Google already covers would not be the target for the target problem that we're trying to solve. So results are ranked by engagement and the amount of upvotes, I guess, for a weight system to value more relevant and human responses in this situation. So by human, I mean unique human users, and engagement is factored in. So the results display a more user-centric result where you're not just getting blasted by ads or you're not getting blasted by who knows what media or what corporate interest has in between like the first page. So yeah, just taking a look at the two different queries I ran on my Safari browser without ad blockers. Best running shoes, I get blasted with ads, and then the shop the best running shoes ads were the first Runner's World. I'm pretty sure is a reputable site in terms of reviews, but at least best running shoes Reddit. Then I get more than 10 threads going over at least discussing what the best shoes are. And it's not that the Reddit query is better, but it feels more discussion based and it feels definitely led more by humans rather than a faceless blog algorithm with who knows what corporate interests. So so the target audience and customers in this situation would probably be real human users looking for real human responses and a better search result. So users concerned about the privacy, which we'll also get into, which is tied to the monetization business model of this product. Users are also looking to earn from their information, which is what we'll be getting into. So the business model pretty much relies heavily on opting into advertising. So again, advertising is probably the best business model for this type of search engine product. But the difference is users are paid to view ads, so users opt in, while the default mode is to not have their privacy invaded and be more like DuckDuckGo, I guess. So I guess what we're doing now is paying users to pretty much have the Google experience, but with ads. So like if the traditional Google experience is with ads, you should pretty much be paid to be giving away your information and pretty much your privacy. Users should use the site for free, so pretty much incentivize growth, and a more democratic and free internet shouldn't be behind a paywall. And we should also think about, for part of our monetization policy, selling an in-browser currency. So where within the browser, there'd be another form of weight to the upvotes. So you'll pay other users for good contributions and support your favorite sites so they don't have to rely completely on ads. And also just viewing ads is another way to contribute to paying for the sites you're looking at or the sites that you value. And this is also going to be a minor weight or factor in the result formula of what results get turned out. In terms of regulation, we're dealing with the default privacy laws. As of now, the US privacy laws surrounding the Google search engine is pretty weak and not of notice, but the GDPR privacy laws, when it comes to user data in Europe, at least, it's pretty strict. So that will be of some concern if we move into that market. National interests are also something we have to take into consideration. Google tried to move into China one time, and I guess the national interests of the US and other foreign countries is also something we might have to take into consideration. So there is a goal at the end to transition to a more decentralized model to bypass some of these different interests, but we'll get into that later. There's also a lack of search engine regulation, which is what I talked about before. And so we'll pretty much be relying mostly on self-regulation in these communities, which I will talk about later. So the biggest challenges are pretty much is content moderation. So we have the typical hate speech, hate crime, defining content policy, which is definitely hard for a certain company to just do overarchingly, which is why we rely on community moderation, which is similar to a more layered content moderation design, where we'll go into that right here. The Reddit content policy, we pretty much have layers where Reddit defines their overarching policy, but it's up to the community people, the people within the communities in those specific communities, I guess, to pretty much moderate and improve their community and pretty much have a stake in it. I believe that at a higher levels, depending on where you are spending most of your time in the internet, that should be your quote unquote community. So I believe that abstracting and taking it to a more scaled, bigger picture, pretty much just taking Reddit's communities and implementing it to the internet and treating that as a community, I believe that probably be a more sustainable content moderation policy rather than just having an overarching content policy above all these communities. So there's a meme about the Discord mod starter part, but I believe that everyone should be invested in the community they're involved in. So even if you're into running shoes, that is your community, and you should have a say in what is shown and what the community is like. So the main competitors are obviously Google and Reddit. So Google, I guess for them, the biggest problem would be if they actually decide to take their user feedback seriously and make a better user experience by relying less on or incentivizing less of an advertisement business model and relying more on just incentivizing user experience and improvement. So entering the content, this is also a problem for them because they'd be entering the content discussion board space, which is what Reddit is doing to supplement Google's lack of, I guess, presence in this space. So the problem is, the reason why people use Reddit is because Google doesn't provide this specific, I guess, problem, or doesn't provide the solution to this problem. So if Reddit were to improve their search function within the reddit.com server and I guess that search function had the same robustness as Google search engine, I guess people would just stick to Reddit for those specific, subjective, and non-factual questions. So if they did actually take their search bar seriously or their search function seriously, Reddit would probably make our product obsolete. But for us, at least, want to the pre-seed round on what we're looking for in financing, 100K for 10%. We are pretty much going to spend that on engineering expenses, building the product, conducting market research, and running servers and other expenses. And at the end of the day, we're looking at a decentralized world for the internet where the technological feasibility, once the technological feasibility is there, I believe that hopefully the internet can be hosted on different pieces and different, let's say your phone, on your laptop, different pieces of the internet can be hosted there. So it'd be impossible to take down the internet because most of the internet right now exists in, I guess, AWS servers and other Google servers. So over-reliance on megacorp media, like I just said, Google, Amazon, and those servers pretty much monopolize a lot of the internet. So journalism by the people, I guess, having a platform for real discussion and for people to post, I feel, or discuss without questioning the algorithm, I think would be an interesting idea. And concerns of censorship, biases, and financial interests are also part of a hypothetical decentralized world. If this were to come to be, I think our product would be on the forefront of this, and this is probably why you should invest. Thank you for your time, and hope you invest.